All right, welcome back. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. This is Introduction to Business 121, offered by the College Lake County. You're taking me online, and this is week 10. This is a quick overview of what's required. Last week you're doing pretty good. So what do we got going this week? This will be open up for you at, I want to say about like 2, 3 o'clock, 'cause I want you to finish week 9's homework. So week 10, we'll be talking about banking, and you'll have your exam 4. And if you really look at it, we only have 2 more weeks. Next week will be week 11. You'll be working on your major paper, so make sure you click on here, major paper. I'll move this thing up a little bit closer here to your weekly homework assignment. Major paper requirements, click on there. What you'll see in here, look at my YouTube. It's 56 minutes, goes through the whole detail. Some of it is basically because I utilize the same this recording here for my major paper. I utilize that also for when I do it for my teamwork. The only difference is between my teams, the teams have to do 5,500 words. You as an individual doing a major paper, 2,400. The teams have to do a full presentation. You just have to supply to me as a PowerPoint. If this would have been a fully 16-week course, which this one is, I think it's 12 weeks, you would also been doing a YouTube presentation and provided to me as a private. Some of you, if you want to do a YouTube presentation, as you would doing a presentation, remember, because part of this is, don't look at it as a homework assignment. Look at this as if I had to do this as a business entrepreneur selling my business, or if I'm doing some kind of a presentation in the corporation. So look at everything else you're doing, your grade, everything else as academic currency. Now, I got a B or an A. What's that equivalent to in cash? So if you've got, when we do the discussion boards worth 20 points, that's 20 or 16 points, whatever. I think I upped it to 20 this last couple of weeks. So if you're looking at $20. If you only do $5 worth of work, that's all I'm going to pay you. All right, so you have that. Look at the information. These are the requirements. Your requirement here is 2,400 words, but you still need the 7 headers, everything else required. Worth 150 points, and then your PowerPoint presentation. And this walks you through it. You got everything else in here. All right. Excuse me. Let me have a cup of coffee here. I'm already wired. I'm live, for those of you who know. And look, I'm into my, this is Sunday, I'm recording, getting you ready on this. I did something in here with business, collaborate, but I don't know how long it takes here to upload. I got business collaborate at another school, and it takes within 5 minutes I got the recording. Here I want to at least have the recording so I have it up and ready. So you have that, you have your rubrics, you're all set. Let's go to our weekly homework assignments, so week 10. Okay, you have your exam 4. It's open. Good luck on that. You have, I think, more than enough hours on that. I think it's 60 minutes. You'll do well on the exam. It prepares you for the final exam. And final exam will be open on May 7th, if I'm not mistaken, or the last week, week 12. On the give or take, okay? 'Cause I have other online classes. I may have the date off. I wanted to look at your syllabi to be correct on there. Okay, for your discussion board today, discussion. What you're going to do is an interesting discussion. Try to see how it's going to affect your banking situation for your business, so you have something to write about when you do your paper. The other thing I want you to look at in the discussion, look to see how it's what's the new Trump administration going to do with the banking. Well, the Federal Reserve going to be here. He has President Trump appointed a new banking chairperson of the bank. Yellen's on the way out. He's got a new person. He wants an audit. Remember, the Federal Reserve is not a bank. It's not part underneath the government, and it's not a private institution. It's kind of like in the middle. It's a matrix, like in between both. So is President Trump gonna get rid of the or go back to the gold standard? Because right now it's not in the gold standard. It's all looking at what do you call it? Not consumer price index, but the GDP, gross domestic product, or NDP, national domestic product recording, is how effective we are as an economy by our output. So we're backed by nothing. We're backed by our output, by what you could buy with the U.S. dollar. How good is that? You could print as many dollars as you want, but you don't have anything. So what happens when all of a sudden our worth is gone? So I think what's going on, if you're really looking at what the administration is doing from a banking perspective, from a governmental perspective, from an economic perspective, this is what this course is about. It's basically looking at it, say, okay, how do I get us off this thing printing money, but having some substance? And now down the road, as we lost manufacturing, we can't be a service company. You can't service anything. You have to make something. So as you're bringing manufacturing back and you're bringing everything out, so our gross domestic product, what we make, we're going to be able to make stuff so that could still handle. But how are we going to do the transition going back? Is it going to go into the gold supply? I don't know. Who knows? But what's happening, somebody knows. So that's what our discussion is. Look at different sites. Look at the Main Street media. Do some research. What's the administration? What was part of the campaign promise? What's going on with the Federal Reserve? Is it going to raise the interest rate? And everyone else, yeah, you raise the interest rate. We're not as, so interest is going to cost more to do business here, or do you want to keep the interest rates low? And also with the tax rate low, it makes it a very good, favorable investment to come back to the United States to stimulate the economy. Two things. Remember what the because if you look at the economics, remember when we looked at economics, basic economics for the government, you have I'm talking about the U.S. Government. You have the fiscal policy is what's the government doing with the taxes, and then you have the financial policy or monetary policy is what the Federal Reserve does with the interest rates. And all of that is what's keeping inflation or keeping the economy growing. So they're both separate, but kind of, you know what I mean? So the monetary policy is supposed to be separate from the fiscal policy, that's the government, and the both will give you what makes sense for the economic policy. But now if there's changes in the Federal Reserve or the banking system that you're looking at, that how's that going to affect us? Okay, so that's read that, put your pulse in. It's going to be interesting. And the reason there's no right or wrong is because you see, the administration is adjusting and going forward, which is interesting and which is also scary at the same time. But that's part of doing business. Welcome to the environmental forces that's affecting businesses, both small and large. All right, and also affecting you as a personal individual. Okay, so we've got that. You've got your quiz. You've got, make sure you do your Learn Smart. This is your last Learn Smart. You're finished. And next week, start looking at this. So we'll have a discussion board just so you can help each other get ready for the paper. All right, I think that's about it. I don't have anything else. You're doing well. We're doing good. In a couple of weeks, you'll be over, and you'll be taking your summer break, and then I'll start the process all over again. Okay? All right. So let's see how many minutes we got. Oh, I'm only at 7 minutes for introduction. This is probably the shortest introduction I had. Keep up the good work, and we're done. And again, remember, if you want to look at some of the older discussions and everything else, make sure for the final exam, look at my lectures. They help the individual. Look at the SMART. Remember the SMART lectures by McGraw-Hill. And the one I want you to make sure you look at the one to review for the final exam is worth your final exam is worth 11% of your total grade. So if you're at a B and if you blow the final exam, you don't want to do that. So, and I'll post the link and everything else, information, a separate thing in announcements after I finish this for you to print out and be able to, for lack of better words, sign up for the final review session. But we also have the paper due. Let's worry about the paper and the PowerPoint. Okay, so the one you wanted to do here is right here, just a recharge study for the exam. Look at this video, it's 2 minutes, and it helps you how to use Learn Smart that you've done and to study so you do well to prepare for the exam that's going to be in Blackboard. All right, it's going to be 100 questions, multiple choice, but it's going to cover all the chapters from chapter 1 all the way to chapter 20, except chapters, the HR chapters, and I want to say labor relation. I want to say 11 and 12 are not included in that. Okay, bye.